Hello and welcome to this interesting webinar series titled Lessons from the Masters, powered by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. As you are aware that Lessons from the Masters is a popular webinar series where top MFDs and trainers share the nuances of various aspects of the distribution business. In this context, we bring to you an interesting episode of on investing in distribution business. Friends, many of us may be exploring ways to invest in our own business to expand our reach. And most aspect of distribution business like learning new skills, upgrading knowledge, team building, or maybe leveraging technology requires money and investment. So this give rise to two questions like when is the right time to invest? What are the cost effective ways to invest? And what are the things to keep in mind before investing? To answer these pertinent questions, today we have with us Babu Krishnamoorthy, Chief Sherpa of Finsherpa Investment Services. Babu is also money coach, author, and speaker. Babu will be in conversation with none other than Mr. KS Rao, who is Head Distributor Development and Investor Education of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. As we all know, KS has two major passions: make India financially literate and empower our MFD community. So, under his leadership, his fund house has won many awards from prestigious organizations like Asia Asset Management and Nivesh Manthan. So, without wasting a single minute, let me welcome Babu and KS.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Nishant.
Nishant.
Thank you so much. And indeed, it's going to be Babu is a great friend of mine, and it's over a little over 12 years of no, I think little over 13 years of association now, and look forward. It's a great opportunity. Good evening, friends. Thanks for taking time out. And the every alternate Thursday, I look forward for these sessions for the masters to come, and masters are going to be with us, and it's going to be a lot of it. The Give me a minute. I think, yeah. And this time the master for us is Babu Krishnamoorthy, and many of you are aware, and some of you who are attending IFA Galaxy meets probably would not have gone without getting charged with his. No, it's inspirational words, quotes, and the presence itself is a very vibrative. And it's thanks Babu for joining, and it's going to be very very. I personally feel today's session is we always talk about we get the investments from the investors, and today as an MFD, how do I invest in my business? What are the things? And your rich experience can make all the difference. And the finance, the Finsherpa, the company which you have itself is convey a very phenomenal meaning. And if every financial advisor, financial MFD is a Sherpa kind, it's taking care of your investors. And of course the risk we undergo a lot. And this, I remember when Finsherpa, I look at, I had a travel 12 years, I think 10 years back to Manas Sarovar. And it is just, but for the Sherpa, my life would have been very tough. And who has taken utmost care of me and brought me back safe to the lands. It's fantastic. It's a and I had a privilege to go through your website, and there was one quote very interesting which I have seen is you have taken testimonials from your investors. And the testimonial, one of the testimonial, I mean, before that, there is about testimonial success stories of the investors. That's a phenomenal way. You put it that great success story is the proof that you have given your goals your very best, and you have given your goals very best. And and the entire thing the Finsherpa has designed is phenomenal, and lot of thoughts would have gone. And before coming to the Finsherpa, yeah, there is a journey for every MFD. There is a story behind, and for every successful MFD, the story is behind. And there were not life is not easy to get success. There were many difficulties to undergo to get that success stage. And today you have the one of those role models, and the phenomenal work. Congratulations. And it's a we will have next 45 minutes. Probably we'll get a lot of insights to lot many people. And probably bit of Hindi wherever possible. And because some of our friends from other northern part of the country, they want it in Hindi. And जैसे जितना भी हो सकता है उतना हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं आप. और I know your Hindi is very good. And like the way I was telling, like when I listen to your Hindi, it is like a Rajnath ji ka Hindi. I mean, the voice resonates. coming back and to start the session to make the moment. Before floating Finsherpa, the journey was much bigger, and you had a wonderful career and you had your own it's a Pelican Wealth which I used to meet, and after that it's a Pelican Wealth at Chennai, then moved to Bangalore Allegra, and it's and it has done fairly well on the wealth management and PMS side, and it's one of those sought after advisory field. And if you can take us to that journey and how that has shaped to the Finsherpa, probably how that the Pelican to in Allegra and to have the Finsherpa today and the successful Finsherpa. Probably over to you.
Thank you, Raoji. It's always a pleasure chatting up with old friends, and you're one among them that I look up to with your experience and knowledge. Thank you, Cafemutual and Nishant, for making this possible. Always a pleasure to share. As you said, as a Sherpa, one of your jobs is to make sure that as you try and climb to higher grounds, you also take care to pull the other people. And so I believe it's my duty to help my fellow MFDs to understand the journey and the difficulties and maybe some of the things that they need to take care. So it's my pleasure to be here and share whatever little I know of this journey over the last 2+ decades that I've been part of this. I hope my voice is audible and clear.
Yeah, perfectly. And some requests of coming. हम शायद थोड़ी बहुत हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं.
Sure. जरूर. So I will include Hindi, but predominantly मैं अंग्रेजी में बात करना चाहूँगा क्योंकि मेरा flow ज़्यादातर अंग्रेजी में बहुत easy आता है, but let me also kind of move between Hindi.
I feel, wherever possible, I'll put it, and ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है.
Absolutely.
Getting the insights from you is more important than Bhasha, because
So you wanted something about my journey, so I'm going to start quickly where so I'm a chartered accountant by education. I completed my CA in 1995. Uske baad I did investment banking for 2 years. We did a lot of different things, and I believe it's part of life's journey, at least early on, must be to experiment different things, right? And that's really what I did in the initial few years. And it's really after 1998 that we took up distributorship. I started out with ICICI Prudential as an agency manager. They used to have a concept called agency manager. And then in 6 months' time, we realized that we just can't keep giving the same mutual fund. So we have to diversify. And then we took up Birla and the host of other things. So 1998-99 was an epoch-making year for me, because that's when I ventured into mutual fund distribution under the name of Pelican, along with a partner of mine at that point in time, Balasubramaniam. So the journey then was very difficult and different than what we are today, right? So those points in time, I still remember 1998, I went to an investor to talk about mutual funds, and Sundaram Finance used to give 15% guaranteed interest then. And the investor turned to me and asked, you are talking about 15% not guaranteed, and Sundaram is giving 15% guaranteed. So, how do I invest with you? And but it was difficult to sell. It was a concept selling era then. And but we enjoyed it thoroughly, the journey. But we found that as days went by, the acceptance of mutual fund increased quite dramatically. Now, from 1998, 2003, we opened an office in Bangalore. Then in 2006, we opened an office in Hyderabad. So we had 3 offices. We were in all about 50 plus team members, and we were reasonably large at that time. But everybody else, sometimes we get in time. This whole 2007, 2008 time was reasonably a heady time. All the financial markets globally was also glowing. So at that time, we also kind of went with the flow and raised capital, which on the hindsight, didn't kind of quite work for us. Let me put it, so the financial crisis in 2008 really kind of pulled down global markets, also hit a big blow for us. one of the learnings for me out of that is that, distribution business is a very wafer thin business. It's a very thin margin business, and one needs to be very, very careful about capital allocation. If you allocate capital wrongly, one wrong slip, and you can fall down the kind of mountain, so to say. So had that great learning then came back, and of course we had a very successful acquisition by Allegro Capital of Pelican in those days. And then the journey with Allegro was even bigger, because in Allegro, the asset sizes were much larger. I used to head the wealth practice then, but I was not an entrepreneur. I moved from an entrepreneur to being the head of business in Allegro. And for 4 years, I played that role. And it was enjoyable, it was good fun, but I always, ached to get back on my own. And so I kind of came out, 2016 is when I kind of came out in the month of July, August, and started Finsherpa. So it's been a 5+ years of journey in Finsherpa, now probably close to 6 years now. And I have had an extraordinary time.
Thank you so much, Babu. And itna tough experience tha, utna आसान हो गया अभी journey. It's a multiple ways you are doing. शायद it's like it's when we are launching this MFD Kare Shuru recently, a campaign from Amphi, like to look at expanding this MFD business. And you are such a role models who can say like आने वाले समय में MFD का अमृत काल है. It is like next few years is going to be the great few years for MFDs. But with looking at your experience, looking at the way you are doing, the Finsherpa is become a role model, successful, and you got a very successful clients. Like we have larger audience today are the MFDs, and they are all, many of them who are here. I mean, every one of them want to expand their business in a big way. And but it's good or bad. Lot of one is it's a market volatility, then regulatory stuff which will be coming in, or other obstacles which are coming in. And its life was not easy for them, even for you, those who have grown. And what are the opportunities you see in this business? And before even I invest in the business, stay myself invested into this business, in the sense my own taking this profession very seriously. How you look at that? It got frozen. Hello, Babu, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, I guess there's some issue, network issue.
Some network issue. I think just we will wait. I request my friends, the audience, please use the Q&A for all those questions you want to put it to Mr. Babu. We can answer those, and kindly hold on, bear with us. This technical glitch, I think he got dropped and he will be coming back. In the meanwhile, let me also explain, Babu's, yeah, I think he's back. Yeah. Was my question audible to you earlier? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got your question. I'm sorry for the, I don't know where.
Yeah, it's like, the question I was putting it is, how do you look at opportunities for the MFD business and MFD to invest himself before, or himself or herself before putting the money? Still, there is a network issue.
Question.
Yeah, question is, there is a voice break.
I will just give me 1 second, Mr. Rao. I will.
No. Friends, please bear with us. In the meanwhile, if any one of you want to know about his business, it is his website, finsherpa.com, and it is like you will be get impressed to see this website. What are the things they do and how the transparency with which they mentioned there. It's like ensuring the client at first, keeping the client in the first, and the Sherpa one. When we go to trekking. Either to Himalayan, or like the way I went to Manasarovar, you always have a Sherpa with you who will be taking you to the peak and bringing back you safe. It is like the message mentioned there is helping you reach to reach the peaks of your financial life. You can look at now we got him back, and over to you.
I'm really sorry. I think we're having the Murphy's Law play to its hilt, the network was perfect till we started. Yeah. So I got your question, Mr. Rao, just to kind of think. I always tell people that I am a overnight success 20 years in the making, right? So it's people, as MFDs, we always tell investors to stay invested in the long term. But the real question we need to ask ourselves is, are we invested enough in the business? And there are two parts to it when it comes to MFDs. The first part is, you as an MFD are the plant and machinery or the intellectual property behind the business, which means that, are you investing enough in the knowledge? At the end of the day, there is nothing in this business other than the knowledge that we carry up here. So there has got to be a constant endeavor in upgrading that, hardware, software, whatever name you call it, and there is no end to it. Like I said, when I started mutual fund distribution, this was a concept selling. Today, even a 3-year-old baby knows what SIP is, or at least has heard the term SIP. So it's no longer concept selling in the mutual fund space. So lots have changed. So one needs to kind of constantly upgrade one's knowledge base and what's happening around the world. And it's extremely important if you have to gain the trust of investors. That said, the opportunity that I see in the next, say, 5-10 years is humongous. And if you want to grab that opportunity, you have, like they say, the proverbial, right? So you can, if you want to catch water, you can either take a spoon, you can take a cup, you can take a bucket, or you can build a swimming pool. So depending on what amount of ambition or hunger you have, you need to invest in a wide variety of things that can help you scale your business. India is a vast country, billions of people. So if you want to serve a larger population of people, you must invest both in your organization, in your people, in yourself. And there must be a certain amount of money that you put back into the business. And there is no way you can do you can grow and take a larger, bite of the opportunity if you're not investing back into the business. And that would be my take.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like, MFD के business में पहले खुद के ऊपर एक विश्वास, then business के ऊपर विश्वास, then निवेश. You need to put yourself there. That's a better way to look at. But as we go forward today, investing as a business is investing in the distribution. And there are MFDs who are at 10 crores. There are MFDs who are at 100. And, you have a comfort level at one level of scale you reach. But when I have an aspiration, मैं 10 crore पे हूँ, शायद मैं 100 crore पे पहुँचना चाहता हूँ. But, how is it that I can invest, but how much I can invest? What is the way I can look at, where I can put my money? One is, you said, very good, I need to put my investment into my learnings. But it's also needs, like, as a brand, I need to establish you. What is the amount I can, like Finsherpa is a 6-year story. And the year one itself, I myself have seen the kind of stuff you have created. One, you're a brand, but you have created a Finsherpa as a brand in the market. People were talking about it. And you've gone much beyond the MFD work there.
So my quick answer to you is, everybody starts small. The world's largest company today, Apple, came out of a garage 4 decades ago, right? So everybody starts small. There's no two ways. So today, somebody 10 crores will be tomorrow 1,000 crores. As long as he wants it, he's hungry for it, and he's willing to work for it. So that's the common denominator that I would say. In terms of investing, I take the Finsherpa as an example, and I say one of the things which I was very, very keen to start with also is to not just build a brand on the name of the self, but to have a distinct identity for the organization. And Finsherpa kind of came as a good brand to help me do that. Within Finsherpa, to stabilize and to grow that brand, we have been doing a variety of things, right? And one of the key secrets of a brand is that it doesn't depend only on Babu. So today we have an 8-member team. And if Babu is not there for 3 months, still the operations of Finsherpa will deliver same or similar, if not better value to the customer as it would be there. And so those are the things, and those are difficult. Those are things that you will need to invest in people, you need to invest in processes, you need to invest in expectation, a lot of it. But once you did that, I think people tend to associate the brand much bigger than the individual. And that is the only way you can grow your organization. If everything comes and stops at your doorstep, then it isn't going to work. Growth is going to be difficult. So I think it's important to invest. But I think more than even the brand, I think it's important to invest in technology as a means to, scale. So there are some basic, today technology doesn't cost a lot of money as it used to before. It's easy to kind of invest in some tech, but get that tech going, get that expectation going for investors that they can go in, log into your website, see their portfolio 24/7. And these are all hygiene factors that we need to give to the customers. And I think one way to grow very, very important is to invest in tech equally as you do in branding and marketing and so on and so forth.
I think I'll go back to, it's a fantastic way to analyze where to invest, how to invest. Before going to the question, I think there are a lot of questions which are also coming in, what kind of AUM I need to start, and what is that I need to invest, they say. But there is one question which always comes in. Before even I started investing, it's like I can't invest blindly. This business I want to grow. Like we do this program called one-page business plan, where we say, next 5 years, aapki manzil kya hai, kahan jaane wale ho? Then how you go there? What is your destination? Then how you reach there? Before that, as an MFD, do you feel, I have seen your vision, mission, and the purpose for which you do it, and in fact, I really congratulate you have created your purpose itself, establishing your own professional purpose. That's a fantastic, and everything is aligned. For common, for many of the MFDs, if there are three things if they need to understand before they start investing. I mean, one, they're investing in their knowledge from the day when they have taken their AR and getting the business. But getting into other stuff, what are those things they need to keep it in mind? Is it also looking at AUM, or looking at your own client, or looking at your own experience, or her geography alag alag hota hai, then what is that?
In fact, all of it. If you ask me, the one thing which I think helped me tremendously is about 1.5 years after I started Finsherpa. I was kind of a little lost because I was running around all over the place. And then I had a consultant friend who came by, and we sat 3 days nonstop, and he kept asking me questions. And you need somebody like that who asks you very dispassionate questions. He doesn't know you, and he asks you very difficult questions. So he kept asking, finally bringing back the thought that who is my customer, right? And it's very, very important because like I said in the beginning, we have 1.3 billion customers that we can serve, Indians alone, but we don't have the bandwidth. So we've got to choose who the customer is and who we want and who we can serve best and who will benefit us most as well. So this gentleman helped me draw up my mission and mission statement for Finsherpa. And one of the things we found a common denominator there is the proposition called middle age. So today, when we go out and seek out customers, we know whom we are pitching to, what we are looking at. We know what kind of a customer profile is the customer we are seeking. And that person is somebody in their 40+ age profile. And we're not shy in saying that, because I realize that we serve best that set of customers and set those expectations really, really well. And they also like our services the best. And it's very, very important to define that segment very, very clearly at the start. Once you define that, then everything else falls in place, right? Then I know whether should I be advertising in Instagram, are my customers going to be there? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be in LinkedIn? Should I be here? A lot of those points come into play once you have defined your segment of the market. So if there's one thing that I ask of my friends is to kind of do some soul searching, go back into your base of customers and say, who is that group of customers who benefit most from my work? and to whom I will kind of also benefit from. It's both, it's a mutual exercise. It cannot be that your customer is on one side a 20-year-old guy, a 40-year-old guy, a 60-year-old man. All of them, if they are your customers, good for you. But I'm saying the approach cannot be the same. Similarly, you may want to take a geographical approach. You may want to do different things. But I think it's important to step back at some point. Maybe not the first year, maybe not the second year. But maybe when you hit a certain run rate, it's good to step back and streamline yourself so that you know where you're going to invest your time and energies going forward and how you're going to get benefits for that. So a lot of my learnings and focus has come out of after I did this initial exercise on vision and mission, and that helped me tremendously.
Oh, fantastic. I think, friends, I mean, if I can take 3 takeaways from Babu on this piece is, the first one, look at where you want to go. Second, who is the one whom you are serving and who is the one who is aligned to you. Then the third one is, you need to create your path. Babuji, I would like to say something here. We recently, I also handle another vertical called Sampark. This we launched last August. संपर्क के साथ हम क्या करते हैं ना, ये नया डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, वी वर्क ऑन द न्यू डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंशन. जैसे अभी एमएफडी करे शुरू हो गया, उसके साथ एमएफडी करे शुरू, कैसे करे शुरू. Then I have a platform called MFD Ready, which is an e-learning platform. After that MFD Ready e-learning platform, they will get empaneled, they go to NISM, they write their exam, then ARN के बाद they come back to us. जैसे the moment they come, we have an induction program the way we do for the employees. The program called Shubharam. After Shubharam, we will give them the induction to the entire industry, how the MFD can play a role and what is that mutual fund. Then there's the first part is to just give them. And after 15 days, they come for the next program called Samagam. It's giving them the domain knowledge. What are the products available? How you can establish a goal. Then we have got, then we will invite them to Samanvai, what is the practice management you need to do. And there we will give the path, how you need to establish. Then they will come to the 4th module called Samruddhi. Then we will give them the goal planning, depending on their business acceleration. Rightly, which investment, where you need to get and how you need to grow. I mean, first 6 months we handhold them so that they can take off, get graduated into the business and move there. And, I'm very glad to say, last year, this is my Sampark got 6,600 new distributors empaneled now. I'm very glad with that. And this year I'm working on a mission to get new 12,000 distributors. Wow. And of them, 4,000 going to be the women distributors. And this is a mission. And before, why I'm telling this is just we are leading the path, the learnings, so that their life can be comfortable and they can earn reasonable money. And I'm very glad one of your, it's when I go to your values in your website, you talk about values, it talks about the objective, it talks about the competency building, it talks about the confidentiality, it talks about the service, and it talks about the profitability. And that's a fantastic thing, right? You want to say something there?
Yeah. So I keep telling investors that you have to make sure that I am profitable, right? Just as I have to make sure that your portfolio stays good and works well, I tell the investor that unless I continue to make profit and I don't stay in business, then you will not have my services for long. So one of the things we very, very clearly mention to the customer is that we intend to run a profitable business. So we do not shy. Sometimes we come to investors say, do you have a minimum number for investments? I always reply, yeah, we don't have a basic minimum investment criteria, but for us, we believe that unless the investor puts in a certain amount of money, it doesn't make profit for us to invest in that investor. And that number I mentioned there. And I don't shy away from mentioning that at all, because I believe that it is our duty to be profitable, to serve the investor better.
Fantastic transparency. I've seen that, while you are mentioning about the confidentiality and sensitivity, your website gives a very different perspective. If somebody is coming, they can trust you full and they can start liking you and go there. That's a way it goes. But now coming back from where we need to start and how we invest, there is a question also come, Vashish, the way a question tha, can I कितना AUM पे हम on team को onboard कर सकते हैं? What are the 2-3 ways to have a rapid expansion of the business? But I put it this question in a different way. It's when the MFD should start putting the money back. For example, first 2 to 3 years. Earlier, it was taking 1 year for you to get the break even. Today, it takes 2 to 3 years to get the break even. Do they start at that time? Probably I remember, your business initially, you took loan and before that you put the money, it's your own capital. And today, not everyone may not afford or they may not think that, how it can go well. And what is your suggestion?
So there are two things. One is that in not all the cases you need money, right? So you can invest in businesses, you can do some smart marketing, which is not very expensive. So my suggestion is, instead of just looking at everything from a money perspective, can you do a lot of things that are low money, but kind of big impact? As small MFDs, I think it's very important to think about ideas that you can kind of generate. So for instance, one of the earliest things we used to do in the past is to be part of many meetings that we go to, right? So how do I get to know people? So I'd go to, say, like a Madras Management Association. I'll attend meetings in that. And in that meeting, in that chai time, you will have, 40 people. So you'll quickly find ways to exchange cards there so that you can then get, tell them about your business and get to know what their business is, and then strike up conversation. Out of those 40 people, hopefully, you will start, more detailed dialogues at some point in time and get going. So even prospecting, you can do it at a reasonably lower cost as long as you're willing to kind of make it up with a smart strategy around it instead of just investing money. So money is not the first thing, but I'd say slowly start putting money back into business. Really, that's important for two reasons. One is, the more money you put back into the business, the less tax you will pay, because as you invest more in money, those will help you kind of lower the profitability, hopefully, and you are investing for the future. So taxes become a less burden to you. Second is, I think you need to look at some of these as long-term paybacks. So both technology, people, somebody asked this question on people. I'll give you my classic case. You take 4 people, train them, 3 years later, 3 of them will leave and 1 will remain. So really, it's the cost of that 1 person that's spread over 4 people, right? And there is no 2 ways to do this. So eventually, if you want to end up with a team of about 40 people, you must be prepared to train 200 people along the way. There is no shortcut to it. There is no way you can start with by believing that I will get the 40 people that I want to remain with me in the long term. People will leave. There are better opportunities, and everybody goes through this. Ask any IT company, they will tell you quite a sob story on this. We're no different as well. But if you're willing to grow, if you want to grow, I think there is no other way than to invest in people. And as they say, if you pay peanuts, you will only get monkeys. So you need to be able to get good quality people. There is a risk the good quality person can, start up on their own. They can go and join another company. All those risks are there. You'll have to live beyond. Growth isn't going to come easy, my friends, but you have to live through that. And beyond all this, if you did this consistently enough over a 5-10 year period, you will find your own team. And that team will stay with you because they understand your business model. They like the way you do. And there are lots of things that competition doesn't do really well. So there are some things that we do really, really well. So that people will intrinsically understand, stick with you and grow with you. But for that, you need to journey that time. You need to kind of go through those so-called ups and downs. There's no other way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. Follow-up question to what you said on people. This is a question coming from Abhilash Mohanty. He's asking, I am working as an MFD, a loan MFD for the last 3 years, and I want to expand my business now. And do I invest first in hiring the people or setting up an office? How that I can go? Probably we can take those questions as it comes in, and then we can put these conversations on.
So my view is, if you want to hire people, you need an office. So there definitely an office comes first. An office also, gives you, to me at least, it's my perspective, that office gives you a perspective of where you're going to spend 12 hours of your day, right? And it's a significant investment of your time and energies in a given day. And it also then gives you that responsibility that you need to utilize that 12 hours in a very, very effective way, have a larger team, mentor the team, make sure all of you think alike, so on and so forth. Also, it will give you the hunger that since you've invested in an office and you're paying the rental, you need to generate a certain amount of business and revenue. So I'd say investing in a good office is the first thing that you need to do. And the office will kind of take care of pushing other things that you need to do urgently. And one of the things very, very important is every time you write that check monthly to that landlord, you will know that, I've got to grow my business because my next settlement is coming where the rentals are going to go up again and again and again. And so sometimes the vision of what we want to do pulls us. Sometimes some of the expenses that we incur pushes us. And it's a combination of both of this that we need to grow.
Yeah, fabulous way to put it. One is my ambition, second is my aspiration, third is my obligation, which I need to pay, then I need to earn, and that will make me grow. Fantastic way to put it. And here comes the question: is when anybody wants to invest some money, there is an easy way of raising the capital and putting it, or another way is what kind of ROI I can look into my business. I mean, ROI in the initial period could be different. ROI at later period could be very different. Initial period is to I cannot sustain, and later period is to thrive. And then how you differentiate? What is your suggestion?
See, I strictly I'm of the opinion that if you want to raise capital in this industry, then you must have a very, very good reason to scale. Unless you have a very, very strong background to scaling this business, my suggestion is think twice about raising capital elsewhere from outside, because anybody who's investing in your venture is giving up opportunities on investing in stock market, private equity, and then coming to you. So his expectation is looking at a 40% return from you, right? Which means you have to run really, really fast to make that return for him, which is what I've encountered in the past. So my suggestion to you is try and see if you can reinvest into the business as much as possible. That's the best way to go by. Having said that, I think from an ROI perspective, I don't have a clear-cut answer as to ROI. I do believe whatever initial investments that you do on a year-on-year basis into your own business will pay you manifold returns as you go along. Because as I am seeing already, that the efforts that I did 5 years ago are paying rich dividends now. The investments that I'm doing now, I am sure will pay me 3x, 5x returns 5 years down the line. So it's very difficult to put a number and say, this is the ROI I will get. But just to kind of give you a very, very broad number of some of the other businesses that I have seen valued in this space, I think if you ran a good business for 20 years and you put in, say a lakh of rupees as your initial investment and did it over a thing, the valuation at the end of 20 years can be 100 to 200x of what you invested initially, as long as you kind of reinvested a certain amount of money and you kind of stayed in the game and you kind of were passionate about your business. The numbers can be quite staggering as we go along as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, perfectly. If we can draw this parallel from many of our successful MFDs, the number of years they put in. I mean, if I can take, soon we are going to launch one module which is called MFD ka Amrit Kal. How the next 25 years is going to be the years for MFDs. And for me, this MFD is an acronym, making your future dynamic. And if I can learn past from the pitchless 25 saal se, those who are successful, and if you can learn from that, one you put it very rightly, one is the power of compounding and persistency of staying there, and put that vision there and you can go there. And put that question next to you is to start with the initial, Mohanty's question, and somebody you want to hire tomorrow. There is hiring has become a very complicated job, very difficult job. And you got the team. And what kind of remuneration structure they can look at to their employees? Is it one way, or is it a profit sharing methodology? What is the salary structure they can look at for their RMs?
So quite honestly, Mr. Rao, I am also in the learning business, right? So I've not got it entirely right as well. So we also recruit, we also have people who leave us and go. So it's not a perfect model in my case. But mostly, people who join because of the passion behind what we do. That's foremost. And of course, we need to pay them a certain amount of money, which is usually what they're near their last drawn pay or thereabouts. And then to excite them, we need to give them an upside. Because if we want to go after the impossible, then mission impossible, so to say, then we need to have Tom Cruises in our team. And Tom Cruises don't come cheap. So we need to kind of be able to compensate them as performance. So I'd say a fair mixture between a fixed pay and a variable pay needs to be made interesting. And as MFDs, we are also entrepreneurs. So we need to be able to wear that hat and, kind of make sure that the team is sufficiently rewarded. And there are two ways to reward. One is monetary, which is there. I mean, you need to do that. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of non-monetary way in which we can make a big difference. And I think that's very, very important. People need to be treated really well. When you are an MFD and you go to a meeting, you need to be able to tell your customer that he and me are colleagues and I am no bigger than him, right? And those are the things that are very, very powerful for people. And that's very, very important. If you want to work in a team, have a team to work for you, then you need to be a team player, which means that you should not believe that you're the man who's making it all happen, which is also not true. Because you're not the only guy who's making it happen. There is a team. So sometimes as individual MFDs, we get carried away. A lot of our individual egos need to be kind of rested if you want the team to come up and play that role. So very, very important how you treat the team, how you kind of empower them. They will make mistakes. When they make mistakes, how do you kind of own up those mistakes on their behalf, solve the problems? It is a journey. I won't say it is easy, but I think it's a journey, and I have signed up to embark on it. So I think it's worth going there.
Yeah, fabulous. I have seen, the way you recruit, the way you get the references you work on. But follow-up question coming from Mr. Dave, what is the right AUM I need to onboard the team? First question. And second question is, it's all good, but I need to onboard my customers fast and bigger. Would you like to give any suggestions? That's where Mr. Vashish Dave is asking.
So I would say the moment you are comfortable with what you're getting, you have to get a team in place because that makes sure that you're always uncomfortable. In any business, an MFD business is like any other. Comfortableness and growth are not in sync with each other. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. So idea is the day you think you're making reasonable revenue, then you need to have a team in place so that that revenue that you make goes down, and then you need to have growth coming in another quarter. So that could be one trigger. I mean, I'm not saying that's the trigger. That's one trigger that I look for. I never want to stay in a comfort zone, so to say. So that's the one thing. I didn't catch your follow-on question, Mr. Rao.
Yeah, no, follow-up question was onboarding the customers. And how do what are the suggestions you give me to get more customers get onboarded? Is there any methodology you approach or you follow?
No, so like I said, so we do a multiplicity of things that we try. Once the team is on board, we go through a period where we stay hungry. We don't have customers to feed all the team members. So all of us then don roles of going out into the market. When you're hungry, you have to do multiple things, right? So we have some marketing campaigns, we do some IAP kind of events, we do this, that, we take references from our existing customers. So you have to do a bunch of things. There is no cookie cut system in place that says, okay, now that I have 4 people on board, I do this and I get 100 customers on board. No, sir, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. So these 4 people could not be making profit for you for 6 months, and you will be draining money in the organization. But during the course, you are meeting prospects, you are building the base for the future. So that's how it is.
Fantastic.
I don't have a better system.
Yeah. But for you, it is like initial days are different, and currently it is different. You may have some pull factor at this point of time, in the sense you are well known in the town, and you are known for your many other attributes which you have. Like one, you are the you're a very professional speaker, and then you are a most respected authority. Then you have written a book. You are an author. And you also take community along, you work with IFA Galaxy. Friends, I would like to say something like, great part of Babu is not only he grows himself, but he makes other people around to grow. During pandemic, there was a fantastic book which has come from the community together, I think 15 or 20 of them together have written a book. All of them are MFDs. It's a Stay Hungry and Stay Foolish. It is a fantastic book. Probably in the course of conversations, he may share some of those things. Probably some insights from your book, what made you to write the book, and what is your suggestion for MFDs to create their own branding? Will that helps in a different way?
Absolutely. So, when COVID hit, many of the MFD friends kind of sat at home, and really kind of the mood was really, really down. And so at that time, the IFA Galaxy board sat together and brainstormed as to, is there something that we can do to kind of fire up the passion of the MFDs? And we said we certainly can, because in our minds, everything is up here. So staying positive, passionate, and bullish is here. So we said, how do MFDs stay hungry and stay bullish? So we got 25 MFDs to write different portions, and we got a bunch of people to kind of coordinate that. And that book came in a record time of 90 days from the start to the finish, and we published that book. And so the point which I was making is that as long as there are multiple angles to running an MFD business, and every MFD has something to offer, if you can crowdsource those ideas and put it in some place, then there is a encyclopedia of things that you can follow and win, right? And that's a great book. And I have taken personally 3-4 insights out of that book and applied in my business, right? Which I didn't know before that. So I'm saying there is a lot to learn from everybody. For instance, there is an MFD who has started business 3 years ago, from whom I have learned how to use tech and scale up. He's done a marvelous job. I can only dream of what he has done. But there is so much learning that I can do from him. It's not because that I'm 20 years, I know it all. The paradigm is changing constantly. There are new players. There are lots of learnings that one can get from the new players as well. So we wanted to use the collective wisdom of MFDs, and that's the result. And I think the future is very, very bright. And one of the objective of writing that book was to help a 10 crore MFD reach a 100 crore AUM within a span of time. And our point is, if every week an MFD, read one chapter and, implemented it over a 52-week, he'd be able to make that jump of 10 crore to 100 crore. That was the thought.
Fantastic. In fact, there were some statistics. Yesterday, I was at NISM. We were just looking at, today we have one MFD for every 12,000 of PAN card holders. Imagine the opportunity to get, and
Tremendous.
One is to expand MFD business. Second is to MFD to expand his or her business. There is a question which has come from Hemant Chaudhary. Earlier, your entire business is catering to the professionals, retirees, and you have defined, and that definition is talking mostly about the age group of 40 plus kind of. And then he is asking a question to you is, do you deny services to customers who is out of your comfort zone of age in criteria?
We don't deny. Since we don't focus on that segment, we don't get many customers in that space. But wherever we get, we find a way to serve them. I don't say, no, I'm not going to serve you, but we find a way to serve them. But that's not our core. We have a very small, we have established over the last 3 years a virtual team, Mr. Rao. This team doesn't come to office, sits out of wherever they are, and delivers value to our customers in terms of investing and so on and so forth. So we have invested in a virtual team. This team is able to handle thrice as many customers as a physical customer would. So it costs us much lesser to kind of service some of these customers.
some of these non-core customers go into our virtual platforms, and we make it very clear to that person upfront. And many of the youngsters also today don't want to see your face, right? So they're very comfortable answering SMSs, WhatsApp, and emails. So they are very comfortable. Virtual team is a low-cost entity for us, so we kind of use that and get them on board.
To support your view, this experiment we did a year back. We started a channel for MFDs to handle MFDs, support MFDs. It is a virtual relationship manager, which I handle it, which is we have a team across. We have 52 people who support across the country. And my tagline there is real relationships managed virtually. And the kind of productivity which we got, hoping, I'm doing at least today 12,000 distributors are handled by these 50 people. And the kind of success rate is fantastic. Now I have seen little over 22% activation. And that's the way technology is working there. You need to get the one side you have a high tech, second side you get a high touch. The combination of these two can make a lot of difference. Coming back on the technology, what kind of investments or what kind of technology an MFD need to look at, and what kind of money they can afford to spend, or is there any way something can come free of cost to them?
See, I'll tell you, I'll tell you what I have done in terms of tech, and what I have done is not very expensive. So first up, I invested in a reporting tool for customers. So there are lots of reporting tools, Red Vision, InvestWell, a variety of different tools are available. Because one of the things I believe is when a customer invests money, he needs to have visibility of where that money is, how it is performing 24/7. So it's extremely important to have this tool first. So we've invested in this. For basic research, we have a tool that provides us across different categories of mutual funds, which are the ones, how they are performing, so on and so forth. So we invest in a certain tool that helps us kind of identify actual performance and reiterate whether the funds that we are giving continue to add value to the customer or not. So these are two tools that we definitely need to have. Other than this, like I said, for marketing and digital and presence, we have our website, which we have kind of put up. We have somebody who's managing that website. We have a social media person who's managing our social media assets, Facebook, LinkedIn, and putting up posts regularly. I also have been investing the last 1.5 years, a certain amount of my money into digital YouTube channel for Finsherpa, where I do weekly videos for the last 100 weeks, more or less continuously we have been investing. We do a short 5-minute, 7-minute or 10-minute kind of output on various aspects, just as a knowledge. We don't kind of look at any payback on this. The idea is that as you spread more knowledge, more people will kind of understand that you play this role, and eventually a certain amount of reach will be there for you as well. So we're also doing that amount. And like you rightly said earlier, we have also invested in a certain amount of tools like, which is not expensive. It's very, very cheap. Your Google Suite. We invest in, video editing tools. We invest in some of these things. These are all pay by months. Pay by per month in a couple of dollars here and there. Nothing very expensive, if you ask me. I don't think tools or technology or some of those things are very expensive. One of the things we are considering to do, we also have a CRM tool which we have invested in that helps us track customers and engagement and prospect customer conversion, so on and so forth. All of which we have done. But none of this in the overall context is very expensive. That's what I'm trying to say. So there is a certain mindset that says everything is very expensive. It is not very expensive. It is very time consuming. However, it is very time consuming. One needs to kind of understand, implement. It does take a little bit of one's energies and efforts. But once done, I don't think you should have a problem.
Fantastic. This is one interesting question coming from Arshit Patel. As an independent MFD who has started a year ago, but now staff at, what is the kind of AUM one should go before you want to start an office? Is it before you establish? Earlier you have answered, but is it on the day one he can have an office, or wait for some time and establish that?
Different
approaches.
different things for different people. What works for me is that I need a separate place, Mr. Rao. I need a separate place to go every morning, right? I need to carry a bag. I need to get out of home at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock and go sit in some place and, then really focus on stuff. I don't get the focus if I sit at home. I mean, that's for me, right? So 6 days a week, I make this journey to the office. A physical space is necessary for me. These gray hair also means that maybe I'm too old in this, and maybe so, but I make it a point to kind of come. Even during COVID, I was telling a friend the other day that even during COVID, religiously every morning I'll get up and 8 o'clock I'll get ready for office, and I have a small space above my house, which works as a home office for me. I'll go there off like I go to every other office. Only thing, I didn't take my vehicle and drive, but I'll go there and continue to work, and then come home for lunch and then go back. So I need that space. So if you ask me, if I did this all over again and 20 years back, if I rewind back, what would be the first thing I'd do? I'd say I'd open an office first thing, right? And then, like I said, if you have to pay the office rentals, then you know that you have to work back, and everything else works back, right? So that's my view. Having said that, there are people I have met who believe that, something like a MFD doesn't need an office, which is also true, because your office is here. It doesn't need to be physical, right?
Right.
Absolutely true.
And Mr. Rajendra Parekh is asking about name and author of the book. Mr. Parekh, one book which is written by Mr. Babu himself is it's Unlocking the
Unlock
Secrets of
Secrets to a Wealthy Life.
Unlock Secrets to the Wealthy Life is the book written by him. And also he co-authored with the IFA Galaxy team of all the MFDs. It's a Stay Hungry, Stay Bullish. And these are the two books. And there's a question coming after the technology answer of you. It's a question coming from Palniyappan Kanapan. What is the recommended mutual fund research tool you are using?
So at this point, we use a tool which is provided by an organization called Pulse Labs, which kind of gives us a Excel kind of a tool which we use. We are examining now various other tools as well, because we are trying to find a permanent research person now that we've reached a certain point. We need a data analyst and research person. So we will go in for another tool. But when I started up and for the journey till recently, we have been using Pulse Labs. It's a Bangalore-based company that provides us reports from all the mutual fund performance category-wise. And then we can toggle around with some of those parameters and reach our conclusions. So that's what we've been using.
Fantastic. It's like if it's an established MFD, what is that annual budget of mine? I need to put it for the team and marketing and technology. What is the percentage I need to allocate?
See, we are a very people-centric business. So I would say in any people-centric or any services business per se, I think your people cost would be in the region of about overall 50% of your overall cost revenue per se, right? So you need to keep that in mind, if not more. That's one key cost that will be there. Other than that, the rest of the cost will be left to you what you want. Like I said, some of the applications and technology costs are reasonably small. As you scale, it will become quite immaterial, so to say. But what you want to do for branding, marketing, so on and so forth is something that you will have to think about. I never thought about it till very recently, but of late, I think there is a number that I'm veering towards, and that number is at a certain revenue, I need to invest about 10 to 15% of my gross revenues in some amount of marketing, branding exercise. Very consciously, one needs to do. If one wants to grow the business, then you need to also think like what the successful business people think. So you look at successful business. We don't need to go further than the FMCG company. So I know our business is very different from FMCG, but I think they have done a great job in bringing the brand right outside your kind of window, so to say. I think it's important to take away some things, but it's not that we can do it the same way. we need to figure out some smarter ways of using the money, because the money that we have, in spite of a 10-15%, will be still very small. So you need to be really, really smart in the way you put it to use. And there are lots of guerrilla ideas that one can come up with and see how you can.
Fantastic, Babaji. I think we have couple of questions, then we can wind up. I think we may surpassing little time of you scheduled time. And there is one question coming from Premanand Devnani is, would you like to name the CRM? What is that you use?
So I use an internal CRM, which is developed by a friend of mine. It has its limitations, but one of the things that I like about it is very simple. It is to my need alone. But a lot of people are swear by something like a Zoho CRM in the thing. So CRM is what you want. See, there are only two things I wanted to understand, right? So if I have 350 customers, I want to understand how my engagement with my existing customers are happening across all my team members. So that's what I wanted to understand. Second is, if I have a prospect that I have, then is there some place it can go to, and can I see the journey of the prospect getting converted to a client or not getting converted to a client, one way or the other? And then can I analyze the reason why those conversions don't happen and why that conversion? So we created a reasonably simple tool using a software called PSP, which was done by an external consultant for us quite quickly. I mean, we gave him 7 days. He got it done in 6 days. We were on and going. Now, the alternative was to use something like a Zoho CRM. But then Zoho CRM has 200 features. I will take 3 months to understand it, and then all of it. And I really don't have that energy and patience. I'm a little low on patience, so I need to hit the ground running. So we said we'll go with this. So as of now, it's helping us, but I think we will also at some point in time upgrade to other softwares. And there are lots of free to use CRM tools. There is HubSpot, there is CRM, there is Zoho CRM. All of them are good. HubSpot connects picks up from the website inquiries and funnels them into your prospect base. And all these CRMs talk to one another. So what we get in our tool, we can kind of then use it to MailChimp, which then sends out a mail to them, say welcoming them. So there are a variety of different ways you can sync this up. While I talk a lot of this, I know nothing about all this, right? So there is a smart consultant out there who's doing all this work. I only speak.
Fantastic.
So it's also important that you know what you know and what you don't know, and more important, what you don't know. So I know mutual funds, but I don't know anything else. So get smart people to work with you is the only way.
Fabulous. Concluding question, I'll put this last question and then take your final call. And this question coming from Buddhadev Pal, this always lingers in the mind of many MFDs because there are two things are happening in the country. Was reducing the somebody who had seen 15% interest rate. I met somebody this morning, 15%, like the way you said in Sundaram at 15%, right? Today we get it 5%. Similarly, that time some brokerage, somebody who would have seen it could be a 6%. And today it is at 60 basis points. And he talks about the answer is, considering current changes in the reduced brokerage structure in AMC, what will you look at? What kind of brokerage 20 years down the line? And how do I develop my business?
So my simple answer is that look at yourself in the mirror, right? In anything that you and I do, we want cheaper options. When I go to buy my vegetables, जब मैं सब्जी खरीदने जाता हूँ, I go and negotiate, right? I look at somebody who's selling at $10 and I want somebody who gets at $9. And if somebody is giving it at $9, I buy it from them. So it's the human spirit to look for lower costs. And at a broad level, as mutual funds become more and more commoditized, this is going to keep going down. There is no way it's going to change, right? We've seen this in the airline industry. We've seen this in every other industry. Mutual fund is not going to be any different. My suggestion to you is, instead of trying to fight it, join the gang. So there are two things that we can do. One is you can convert yourself from an MFD to an RIA and become a tremendous value addition to your customer and say, hey, I'm going to charge you 2%, but I'm going to give you this out of the world solution that nobody else is going to give you. So you better pay me 2%, right? Which is the what I call the iPhone model, right? iPhone is like 10 times more expensive than the average smartphone, but he's able to justify it. People stand in queues to buy it because he brings so much of value at the end that people are kind of quite happy to pay that value. So either go that distance or go the Samsung way, right? In every category, have your presence, sell by the billions, you will still make money, right? So which means that you can be an MFD, but your size grows larger. For every 10 bips volume drop, your revenge should be to double your AUM. If you did that, you more or less compensating, right? And today, with technology, with ability to scale, I think it's not impossible. It's tough. It's not easy, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, fantastic. Develop your own kind of business model. In the beginning, when you started with a segmentation, probably you concluded with your own business model. I think we can evolve there. And today we have seen quite a good number of MFDs. Even they themselves would not have visualized at one point, 20 years down the line, I managed 200 crores. This they would not have visualized. And they say their life is very good. And these are the success stories. And similarly, 20%, 30% of them would have vanished looking at the things the way it is happening. How you look at, how you take a call, all that, nothing is a freebie. You need to serve your customer. You are here because of the customer and create that experience to the customer very differently. You create a wealth. And there are lot many customers, very learned audience I have seen in the last 2 to 3 years. And in fact, in the last time I was telling Lovai was there, I met a customer who has invested in the mutual funds directly during the pandemic period, and he ended up with 65 folios. Today, you don't know what he needs to do. Then I need to direct him to one of the financial planners whom I know. Go sit with him. He will clarify. Then later you decide whether you want to do business with him or no. But I can't spend more time than you. I can't clarify. That's the way people. There are a lot many such people where you can deal, and huge base of people who went into the direct market. Huge base of people who went into the crypto. Probably they will be there. These are the target customers here of plenty. But last advice for MFDs from your side, how you look at and what they need to focus if there is one or two things if you want to sum it up.
So I give you my perspectives, Rauji. The way I look at this industry and the way I think. Every new fintech player who is getting in is actually your dear friend, right? Because he's opening the door, he is kind of helping you get new customers on board. And as each of these customers have initial experiences and grow, they will become your customers later on. So these guys are doing an invaluable job of, doing that initial work and getting people ready for your business. But you need to also prepare yourself to be that person who is able to take them on board at a future date. So be very clear about what value you bring to those customers vis-a-vis somebody who is in the fintech space, right? Now, we are all assuming that cost is the only criteria. It is not. It is not. For some people, cost is. If cost is the only criteria, you would have no five-star hotel ever, because an idli in a five-star hotel costs 10 times more than what's available in a darshini, right? So there is no way. So there is a certain amount of value we can bring to the table. We need to define that. The market is very, very large. And like I said, think of what you want to bring to the party. Do you want to bring the proverbial story in which everybody is asked to bring something for water that they want to collect, and somebody brings a spoon, somebody brings a cup, somebody brings a bucket, and there's one guy who builds a swimming pool, right? So if you in your mind have that swimming pool that you want, then you will find your customers for it. But if you want to find excuses as to why you can't, that also you will find, right? So my view is be very positive about things. Go out there. 1.3 billion. India is on the cusp of a $5 trillion economy. We are probably the most blessed group of people ever in the history of this country, and at this point in time, anywhere in the world, right? So we have a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. We're almost standing at the cliff looking at the sunrise, only that we don't realize it,
Absolutely.
So I think it's probably about an hour before the dawn and the sun is going to rise, maybe. But I think it's important to realize the opportunity and be very serious, really put in hard efforts. I think next 10, 20 years will be transformational for all of us, all of us. How transformational is in each of our hands as to how much we want to kind of grab this and make this an opportunity.
Absolutely. Please.
I am kind of fully committed to business. Like I said, I'm an overnight success here. I'm sorry.
No, very good. Very nicely said. I mean, that book title says all that what you mentioned in single word. You need to stay hungry and stay bullish. And there is a huge opportunity for every one of us here. And we can get all that. What we need to do is, have a self-belief that you can do wonders. We are in the business of markets. There will sometimes volatility is the market, but we need to handhold volatility. Market can be volatile, but you don't need to be volatile. One need to be calm. And in fact, yesterday I met one of the very senior officials of Ministry of Finance, and he was asking why people need to invest in MFD. Then I was mentioning only one reason: not to manage the money, but to manage the emotions. Today, people struggle with it, and a lot of money has lost because they couldn't manage their emotions and they have redeemed it wrong time. If they are with MFD, there is a life differently. It is not 100 basis points or 200 basis points. They are holding you back to stay invested and stay hold. And he was very convinced with that. And I said, I have an MFD who handles my money. I can't handle myself. It's that's the way it looks at. But thank you so much, Babuji. It's very interesting, and congratulations to you for not only make Finsherpa to go everywhere, and you created your own mark. You are phenomenal speaker, and you are the most respected authority, and you are an author. And this is where an MFD can get multifaceted development. MFD is a multifaceted development. Don't look at one area of life, so that de-stresses you. I think a lot of learnings. Unfortunately, friends, shayad couple of you were talking, we couldn't speak in Hindi, and sometimes it's good. Whichever the language, the message of the business doesn't have any language, and preferably we can have some Hindi little later. But thank you so much, and I invite Nishant, and thanks Babuji for this great time. And friends, soon this 15th August we are celebrating 75th years celebration Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav. It's completion of that 75 years, and looking at next 25 years of Amrit Kal. Let us make that Amrit Kal of the MFD. Shayad, ministry has given one thing. Yesterday probably some of us would have got a message which says Har Ghar Tiranga on this Independence Day. एंड ये हर घर तिरंगा को हम ये फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम देने के लिए एक छोटा सा मॉडिफाई कर लेते हैं. हर घर तिरंगा तो देंगे, वी विल गो एंड सैल्यूट, बट वी विल गेट हर घर एसआईपी. then that is an opportunity for us. That's a way where we can look forward. And हर घर तिरंगा, हर घर SIP वो अपना मकसद है. And taking one line, if I can take for Babu's message, invest for the long haul, and put for that long haul and stay calm. And stay invested in your business, invest yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, your intellects, then the money, then the marketing, then the technology. And this is the learnings from Babuji, and it's a fantastic. I thank Cafemutual for giving this opportunity. Thanks to Nishant, I will hand over. And today we are the 201st day of the year of 2022, and we have another 165 days to go. And this 165 days, let us try to make our mission. Either it's a Har Ghar Sipism, every house can have one SIP, and then I can have a multiple SIPs. Every one person can hold an SIP. There is an opportunity. Thank you so much, and thanks to every participant. And over to Nishant to conclude.
Thank you, Raoji. I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Brilliant session. Lot of food for thought today, and I'm filled with lot of optimism and positive. I'm very positive today. So a lot of motivation. Thank you so much, Babu, for such an insightful session. Thank you, KS. As always, you did a fantastic job of putting things together and easy to consume in easy to consumable format. Thank you so much. And finally, I thank each one of you for being such a wonderful audience. Have a great day at work, guys.